it's me, Margaret, with a tutorial on this free pattern from the Yarnspirations website. Check the description box below for a link that should carry you right there. At first glance, the written instructions make it appear harder than it really is, but it's really only 2 stitches, pretty simple.
Now this is the hat in progress, and I wanted to show you this first because I need you to understand the anatomy of the stitch. Basically, you can see it here, it's a 3-parter. You see 1, 2, 3. Or can you see that? 1, 2, 3 is the cluster stitch. And the way you do it is this. You yarn over and you go into a space. You yarn over again, pull through. Yarn over again, pull through 2. Just like you're going to do a double crochet, but stop here. Yarn over, stick it in, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. Repeat that again. Yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've essentially made 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through everything and finish with a chain. That's a cluster stitch. Let's do it again. And you're only working in the spaces, okay? Yarn over, stick it in the space, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, stick it in the space, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, stick it in the space, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. See, we did that 3 times. Yarn over and pull through everything and end it with a chain. Okay? One last time. Yarn over, stick it in the space, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 time. Yarn over, stick it in the space, yarn over, pick it up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2 times. Yarn over, stick it in the space, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3 times. And then yarn over, pull through all of them and end with a chain. Okay, that is a basic cluster stitch that you're going to do for the whole entire hat. The only other difference is when you go up to a new row, when you begin a new row. Now see, I still have 1, 2, 3. See it? But this first one is your chain 3 going up. So the only time we'll need to use that modified cluster stitch is when we begin a new row. And here you just put it in a space. Any space will do. We'll talk about that more later. Pull up your new color. Chain 1 to secure. Give it a tug. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this is going to be 1 leg of the 3 legs of your cluster. Okay? So we only do this twice instead of 3 times. Yarn over, insert into the stitch, pull up, whoops. Make sure you get that extra tail out of the way. Okay, yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's all you do before you pull it all the way through and chain 1. That's the only modification you'll make, and that is for when you are starting a new row. They call this the starting cluster as opposed to a regular cluster. And after you do that to get started, then it proceeds as normal. Yarn over into the new space, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1. Yarn over, pull space, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2. Yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3. And then yarn over, pull through all of them and chain 1 to finish. So see, that's the only 2 stitches you need to know through this whole hat. The starting cluster and the regular cluster. Now if you're comfortable making crocheted hats, this express version of the tutorial may be all that you need. But if you need a little bit more guidance, hang on. After this, I'll give you a little bit more detail. So, for round 1, you're going to chain 3 and complete your beginning cluster that I just showed you, and then add 7 regular clusters for a total of 8. Join at the top. For round 2, you're going to lead in with that beginning cluster, but make sure you do another cluster right beside it. And then in every space, do 2 clusters, join at the top. Then, for the third round, you're going to begin your increases. And it's 1 cluster in one space, followed by 2 clusters in the next. So it's 1 in this space, and then 1, 2 in this space. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way around. You'll repeat for 24 clusters. And then row 4 is your last increase round. And again, just like you're working on a regular hat, you're going to have 1 cluster, then 2 in the next space. So here's the lead-in one that I did, your beginning cluster. That would be 1 in this space, 1 in this space, and then 1, 2 in this space. So you'll go single, single, double, single, single, double, single, single, double, all the way around for a total of 32 clusters. Then you're finished with your increase round, so all you have to do is a single cluster in each space for the next 8 rounds, which is very simple. So you're going to have a total of 12 rows. And that's it. So if you need more detail, hang on. Now that we have the basic stitches underway, we can look at what the pattern is calling for. Now they want you to use Caron Simply Soft, and they give you the colors that they used here on the pattern. And they say a size H hook. Well, this pattern is difficult to size just because the nature of the stitch. And I'll show you that in a minute. So if you want to size it, the best way to do it is to change your hook size and or change your yarn size. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to use a thinner yarn. It's actually this Bernat Baby Sport. It calls itself a number 3 light, and it asks for a G hook. So that's what I'm going to do. I just want to see. I'll be able to compare from the hats that I've already done to this hat, and we'll see what the difference is, just in case you need to size it for someone in particular. So let's get started. And I am going to start with white because I want to end with pink along the edges. So to begin the project, we start with a slip stitch. And you'll make that any old way that you're used to making your slip stitches. If you don't know, there's plenty of videos. And we begin with the beginning cluster stitch, which is a chain 3, 2, 3, yarn over, insert into that very first chain, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all of them, and end with a chain. So that's our very first cluster. Now we do a complete cluster stitch, which is yarn over, insert into the center with all of our stitches for the beginning in this one stitch. So yarn over into the center, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the center, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. And then a third time, yarn over into the center, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you should have 4 on the hook, yarn over, pull through all of them, and end with the chain. Okay, so we've got 2 clusters separated by a chain. We need to have 8. Okay, I've got, excuse me, 8 clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I just take the tail and give it a yank to close everything up. Now, of course, you can change colors the usual way, which would be to slip stitch into that the top of your chain 3, and put the new color in and pull through, but I don't like to do that. I slip stitch with the regular color. I think that I just get it neater, and I think it's my skill level. It has nothing to do with the technique, but I want to close it off like this, snip and sew the end in. And then I'm ready to do the next color, which in my case is pink. Okay, so what you're doing here is you're actually going to catch in all the spaces, okay? You're not going in to any individual stitches, you're going into the spaces. So it really doesn't matter where you want to start. But again, you have to start with the beginning cluster stitch, which is the chain 3. This is what I do. I do 1 chain to link it tight, boom, and then I go 1, 2, 3, and now we're back into this beginning cluster stitch, into the same stitch after you yarn over. Pull some yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the same stitch and pull some yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've done it twice. Yarn over, pull through all 3, and end with a chain. So there's my first cluster. Now, just like when you're doing a regular hat, you have to increase at this point. So what we're going to do is put 2 sets of clusters into each space around. Okay? So I'm yarning over and I'm starting a complete cluster. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we pull through all, chain 1 to complete. So I've got 2 clusters into this one space. Now I've chained 1, and I'm going to go to the next space, which is right there. And I'm going to do 2 clusters, which is the cluster chain 1, cluster chain 1. Now because you complete every cluster with a chain, you're ready to move on to the next space, which is right here. So perform 2 clusters. 2, 3, pull through all of them, chain 1, do it again in the same space. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so see how I got 2 clusters in the same space? I'm going to continue all around. Since I'm starting with 8 spaces, I shall end with 16 clusters. Okay, so I've completed. I've got 2 in every one of the spaces, so I have 16 total clusters. Now, what they tell you to do in the pattern is to join at the top of the chain 3, which would be 1, 2, this one right here. And I didn't like that because when I was doing it, it was pulling. You could really see a gap right there. So, because you're not really concerned with the exact number of stitches for this next round, you're concerned with the exact number of spaces, I am joining mine in the top of the next stitch. And that way it keeps it more, see, it's already starting to pull. You can kind of see that. But it's better. And then I'll clip and sew in this end just the same as I did before. So for our next round, I'm taking the white again, and we're still increasing at this point. So we did double in each one. Now this time, now think of it, it's almost exactly like a regular hat. What we're going to do in this next round is do 1 cluster by itself and 2 clusters in the next space. 1 cluster by itself, 2 clusters in the next space. And we're going to continue on like that. Alright, so you're going to continue this pattern all the way around. 1, then 2. 1, then 2. And I'll meet you back at the end. So we're progressing right along. We have one more increase round to do. I completed this, I sewed in my ends, and I'm ready to go. So I'm moving on with the pink. And the increase round here is single, single, double. Single, single, double. Single, single, double. You'll do 1 cluster stitch by itself in this space, another cluster stitch by itself in this space, and 2 cluster stitches together in this space, and complete all the way around. That's your last increase row. Okay, so here I want you to see the pattern just to make sure. 1 single, this is that beginning, that's why the chain is so predominant here. So you have 1, 1, 2, single, single, double, and you continue that pattern around. So, according to the pattern, we're through with our increases. And what we're going to continue to do is alternate colors any way you want, and in each one of the spaces, each chain 1 space that is, you're going to do 1 cluster. And you keep on going around until you have 12 rows. Now in this case, they did the first 6 rows in 1 color, and then these rows they did alternating the other 2 colors. So you'll have 3 of the red, 3 of the black, 3 of the gray, 3 of the black. So I like to end mine with 1 little single row of the contrasting, but that is certainly not necessary. This hat is adorable as it is. Okay, I'm finished and I'm getting ready to sew in this top end, and I wanted to show you how it does close better. Alright, see, that's about as tight as I can pull it without breaking the string, but alright, so what I do is I look to see where the yarn's coming from, and in this case it's coming this direction. So I'm going to continue in that direction. And just, it's hard when it's smaller, but look, you see how it's pulling tighter? When you have a bigger yarn, bigger hook, it's easier to get this little needle in here. But you can see now that it pulls tightly closed. And then you just secure it and finish it off. Okay, and now we turn it inside out, or rather right side out. There's the tight closure at the top. And it looks like this. Let me back up the camera because I want to show you something. This was the sport weight done with a G hook, which is 4 millimeters. Okay. Now I'm get these ones I did before. First I did this one, and it was the worsted weight, which is much, thicker compared to the sport. And I used an H hook, which is what was suggested in the pattern. An H is a 5mm hook. Now, it felt a little tight for me for the yarn that I chose, and I think this is impeccable. At least most of this is impeccable. I have something I need to fix right here. I'm glad I pulled that out. But, yeah, so I said, that just feels a little bit tight to me with that 5mm hook, the H. So I pulled out the I and did this one. And I want you to see that there is a slight variation in size. Can you see this much sticking out here at the bottom? And you can see on the sides. So there is a slight variation, but look at the difference when you use the sport weight and a G hook. I mean, huge difference. So they say in the pattern that this fits an average female, and they're right. This fits me. I'm the average female. I might be short, but have an average size head, which is 22-inch circumference. This one fits me too, but it's just a little bit roomier. And this looks like it would fit a baby. So there you have it.